morning start in Isaiah. And it's Isaiah 65, starts at verse 17. And the title of this section in the Bible that I'm reading from, which is the New Revised Standard Version, is The Glorious New Creation. And Isaiah relates through the words this message. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy and its people as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or the cry of distress. No more shall there be in it an infant that lives but a few days, or an old person that does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 years will be considered a youth, and one who falls short of 100 will be considered accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like the days of a tree shall the days of my people be. And my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain or bear children for calamity, for they shall be offspring, blessed by the Lord, and their descendants as well. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. The lion shall eat straw like an ox, but the serpent, its food shall be dust. They shall not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, says the Lord. It's a beautiful passage about hope and about glorious creation. And I think we as humankind are very short-sighted. I think we look at this and we start to put it together with our short-sightedness. And we start to pick it apart based on what we know in 2022. We start to look at it in a way that's, sort of just through our eyes of today's needs or today's calamities or our challenges. We forget that this passage surpasses time. It's not about when it was written or what time frame it alludes to. It's about God's opportunity or promise to us that right at our fingertips, we always have opportunity to change things around us. Anne was saying this morning that her and Jerry got an inkling, a nudge, to do these bags for these children. And in her telling us this morning, she shared with us there's more need. And we all know there's more need. I went to buy lettuce the other day, a small lettuce that was like this big. Anne was saying this morning that her and Jerry got an inkling, a nudge, to do these bags for these children. And in her telling us this morning, she shared with us there's more need. And we all know there's more need. I went to buy lettuce the other day. A small lettuce that was like this big around was $4.99. I put that up on Facebook saying, wow. And my friend Kathy, who lives in Bella Coola, says, well, be thankful you even have it, because we can no longer get it at all. And if we do, it's $9. I put that up on Facebook saying, wow. And my friend Kathy, who lives in Bella Coola, says, well, be thankful you even have it, because we can no longer get it at all. And if we do, it's $9. So do we know that there's a major crisis? In our midst today, in this world? Yes. So let's admit there's a crisis and begin the journey of healing. That's God's promise, is that we will never stay where we are, because we have the ability as humans to move to a different place. If you don't like the hot seat you're sitting on, get up and change chairs. I love the seat in my car because it's got heat. So I push the heat and I drive along, and all of a sudden it goes, ah! It's a little too warm. So I turn the heat down, right? I change what's happening. As I said to you earlier today, when I'm working 2 shifts a week, it's all I can bear right now, to work 2 shifts a week, because I can't be steeped in what the systemic issues are with our aging adults right now. I can't. I will become bitter and angry. So I take those 2 nights a week and I put my best foot forward to make sure that I know that those 2 nights a week and are the best care I can give. And then I'm trying to see through my spiritual care and the other work I do, how can I help change this system? Our Titanic is heading for the iceberg. How do we move it? This massive ship a few degrees. These are all God's promises coming to light through our hearts, because God is not the one that will change things. We change things through God's inspiration. How often do you hear people saying, oh, if there was a God, there would be no war. If there was a God, there would be no bad things happening, and I won't name stuff through our systems that we know happen. If there was a God, there would, and they go over and over about this. So what they do is they get a black and white situation of there must be no God because this is happening in the world and God would stop it. But God can't stop it without our relationship with God. It's us that puts God's actions into play. The candy bags will tell these children that the community of St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Swinton Park know they're there. The action speaks God's language. So as we read this passage, let's look at a few of the lines in it. For I'm about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered. Let them go. When we live in the past and say, oh, but yeah, it always happened this way. Oh, yeah, well, it always worked that way. Or, no, that didn't work. When we live in the past, we can't see our future because we're too busy looking back at what didn't work. So God's nudging us saying, try this. I don't think it'll work. Okay, well, try this. That's a lot of work. Well, then try this. We don't have enough people. We go on and on with the nudges coming from up through our spirit, up through that which is the deepest part of ourselves. And it's our ego that we EGO, we edge God out because our ego is lazy. Being people of God is hard work. But it's the most fulfilling job in the world. Last night I went into one of the clients' rooms and she was napping, but her pendant, that's the woman I talked about earlier, that her pendant had been ringing for quite some time. And I just went in and I poked my head in, I looked, and as I was ready to retreat, because I thought she was sleeping, I thought I'll get it in a little bit, she lifted her head. So I went in and I called her by name and I said, your pendant is been engaged. Did you need something? And she said, well, I did. And we went through the story of however many hours ago she did need something and nobody came and everything. And I said, well, I'm sorry. And she said, it's not your fault. I said, it's our fault. We are letting you down. Maybe not me directly, but I work for an organization that is letting you down. And she said, thank you. So my efforts, my choice to be present when I'm there is paying off for the people I work with. And that's my God-driven moment in this world today, is how can I make a difference today, in this minute? I was training a woman last night, and she said to me, wow, you're really well-liked. And I said, it's got nothing to do with being well-liked. They know I see them and I hear them. And that's God's mission for us. How do we see and hear the children that need this? How do we see and hear the families who are looking at $5 lettuce and going, how do I give my family a really good diet? Those people who work 40 hours a week in a Tim Hortons, making a full 40-hour-a-week paycheck, and that 40-hour-a-week paycheck does not pay the rent. We have new Canadians coming in who they just want to work. They are willing to do absolutely anything that will bring them in a fair wage for a fair day's work, and they are eager to learn. So we have all these opportunities of creating a new heaven and a new earth and letting the past be behind us. So much opportunity. It's so ripe right now for spiritual harvest that it's criminal that we're not flourishing, because God is asking all over, everywhere we look. So be glad and rejoice forever in what I'm creating. For I'm about to create Jerusalem, or say the world. We don't need to say just Jerusalem. Jerusalem being the representation of God's world, as a joy, and its people as a delight. When was the last time you felt true delight? So we go on, and God says, I will rejoice in Jerusalem. I will delight in my people. So when we do things that are wonderful and we feel delight, that's God being delighted in us. So much opportunity. What I love most of all is verse 24. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. I've been doing a lot of work listening and learning and mentoring under the work of Dr. Carolyn Myss, M-Y-S-S. She is an energetic intuitive. She works with spiritual energy, and she has for over 20 years doing readings on people in the sense of assessing their spiritual health and in turn biological health. Because what we can't seem to get through our head is that the body is the caboose on this train. God speaks to us, the Spirit speaks to us, energy speaks to us, however you want to look at it. And when we are not listening, then biologically it shows. So when I listen to her, I find many, many ways of how we can begin to listen to the Spirit in order to assist our biological health. And I love these practices of being calm and meditative and peaceful and beginning the process from the inside out. So as we work through this meditative practices and work through that which is the Spirit or God speaking to us from deep, deep within, there is a passage in Isaiah, and I can't tell you exactly where it is right now, but it tells us that God is the wee small voice. So as we build our mountain, our own personal journey, our own personal mountain, I want you to remember that you are always connected. You are not alone, and you are in today's energy. We can look back and wonder, we can look back and learn, we can look back and teach ourselves, and we can begin to think about what's happening and what direction we want to go, but we are always only in the present moment. So as you take away these things, I have a book here called The Third Jesus. It's by Deepak Chopra, and he talks about how that we have the historical Jesus, the man who walked the earth, the historical Jesus, what we know of him from our scriptures and from the Quran. The Quran speaks about Mary and Jesus, the prophet. And we know about the divine Jesus, the Jesus that we, the church, have created. We've created this divinity of Jesus, and we've exponentially grown it. But what we've lost touch with is the third Jesus, which is the mystical Jesus. The Jesus that was connected in presence and in energy with God, that created in him this desire to be who he was so that we talk about him today. And that's coming out of the mystical presence. That's coming out of a deep sense of self and understanding and connection to God. So as we look at that, I just want to read here just a couple of sentences from Deepak Chopra's work. And he talks about how Jesus opened a path to enlightenment that is still viable today. From his teachings, we learn how to create a shift in our own awareness. Jesus asks us for personal transformation, and he exists in awareness as the state of unity with God. And God consciousness is something you can work toward today. God finds delight in the most interesting places when we just follow along with our prompting. It's simple listening to the deep, whether you turn right or turn left. Today I pulled out of the gas station, a vehicle was coming with the light, and it was a truck with a big trailer on it for animals, and I stopped and I heard in my head just the word wait. So I thought, okay, I'll just wait. Because my instinct, my ego instinct was floor it, get past him, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck behind him. That was my instinct, but all I heard was, no, wait. So I didn't go. That guy blasted past me, and he must have did 150 because he left me in his dust. So if I'd have followed my ego instinct of me first, get past him, get out there, he would have tailgated me because he would have wanted by, and he would have been such a big truck, he wouldn't have wanted to pass. But it was that moment of just that whisper, just wait. How subtle it is. I invite you to look into this God consciousness movement that's happening in our world today, to be curious about it and ask God, what is it you want us to learn? Where do you want us to go with this? Because we are going, whether we like it or not, we're going into a next level of consciousness as humankind. So I hope you can find some wisdom in this morning and enjoyment out of the conversation that I share with you, because that's what it is. It's a conversation, and it's ongoing all the time.